Biology and Technology. So the focus for today is going to be our math growth data. And I have a lot of feedback from you guys of, hey, can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? So math does do a lot for you. So I want to go ahead and break it down for you. We're going to start off with like umbrella, how does my class look, where are my children at, the colors, and then we're going to go ahead and go dig deeper to teaks. And then from there, look at the quadrants to see if you guys meet your TL money. Okay? Are we okay? And at any point, because it's a small group, if you have a question or you need assistance on your own laptop, just go ahead, raise your hand, and we'll work together. So to begin, here's my contact information. If you don't have it already, most of you already have me saved. So feel free to email me if you need to. And I'm going to start with our objectives. So we're going to learn how to use math growth reports in my small group and for other instructional purposes. Our LI is going to be, I know I got it, when I'm able to pull my own math growth reports as an instructional tool. So here's our agenda. And again, if you want extra things on the continuum or if you feel like, okay, I need a family report, I did not put it on the agenda because of timelines, but I'm happy to help you if we get through this quickly. So we're going to visit our class reports. We're going to be looking at the grouping of our colors. We're going to learn how to use the continuum. It will tell us how to pull the teaks based by RIP bands, and also visit achievement status growth, which is the percentile that you guys are wondering, do I qualify for TIA, yes or not? Are my students meeting growth? That's where we're really going to dig deep. So to begin with, I call this the umbrella class profile. This is where we first see, okay, how many students did I have in my blues, my greens, my yellows, my orange, and my red. So pretty much this is an overview of where we're going to start. Once you open up your account, this is the first thing that you see by content. And this one is the most powerful because it gives you like a snapshot of, okay, where are my kids exactly? And if you're working on action plans like our campus is, we focus our action plans on our red and our oranges. So it kind of gives us an idea of, okay, I'm working with 6 students, but now I want to dig deeper. So the class profile is the first thing I'm going to show you. When you log in, yours might look a little bit different. You go to math growth. And you don't have school profile, yours will be class profile. And for the purpose of this training, I did get consent from Ms. Hernandez in first grade. She said I can use her account. So for example, if you're Ms. Hernandez, you pull up the class profile report. It'll tell you right here how many students have tested. Right now it says 97% have tested, so that means the data only has 1 student missing. There you go. And the first thing is, okay, I want to see, did my students go into green? How many do I have in red? So this kind of gives you like the snapshot. This is the important piece, overall umbrella, just as a class. And then right here, it's going to tell you the percentile of your class. So all your students here that tested, as a whole, is 52 percentile. So that's where they're at right now. And this is just the overview of your class as a whole. And now, to look at the other stuff, down here, if you scroll, it actually gives you the students' names. So this will be your high groups, and it tells you their RIP bands right here. Kind of scored similar. I feel like these are too high. As an instructional leader, you can actually pair these the same, or if you feel, okay, my student barely made it to blue, I could possibly pair them with the green. So this is kind of where I guide teachers to look at carefully about how many points are they similar, because some of our students are ready to be blue. They're off by maybe 1 or 2 points. Those students can also be paired into blue. Those are some questions that teachers ask. And then towards right here will be your lower students. So these are red. 127 is a little bit low, so you're looking at like pre-K level. And I'm going to dive deeper after this, and I'm going a little bit fast, but tell me if I need to slow down. I'm going to show you how all these students are paired by their rib bands, and then how to pull teaks from there. So again, this is just the general class report. Are my students all tested? My students all have colors. I have my percentile as a whole. And now I can create groups. And you can do this both with your math and also your reading groups. So this is where I start off my teachers. Whenever you have no idea of how to make groups, go here to the group. Class report. We okay so far? Any questions?
So technically, like that line right there would be, you'd break it up, of course you wouldn't have all those, but you could break, that would be like 2 groups.
Yeah, and if you think these students are too high, make that your GT extension group.
Okay.
Good question. I know you have a lot of smarties on yours. So then now, I want to do the continuum, right? The continuum looks like this. I'm going to show you. There's a video in there that I'm going to share with you guys. It tells you how to get there, but I'm going to show you. I don't want to show a video, right? So the continuum, the way that you access that is the same area as a class profile. The only thing that you do differently is instructional areas, because you really want to focus to see, okay, what teaks do I need to color jump my students? I cover it. Hello, welcome.
Instructional
Hi,
area.
sorry. No, you're okay. I just started. So again, it's going to be the class profile under instructional areas. I know some of you are following. So instructional areas is going to give me the continuum. And so let's say I want to focus on data analysis and money with my students. Or geometry, it just depends on which teak you want to focus. And I'm going to pick one. Now my students are already grouped, correct? All there, I know their grade scores, but I need more. I need to focus on a specific teak, a standard ideas of what I will teach. So I scroll down right here, under where they're grouped. You're going to get a little link that says continuum.
Okay.
And that continuum is yours working?
Yes. It took her a little while.
Okay. So I'm going to look at, for example, my student Tyson. His grit score was 149. So Tyson, when I'm writing his pen, I'm going to look at the rib bands, which are right here. He's about 149. So I click 149 on the rib, and it'll tell me what he learned in pre-K. So it's a vertical alignment as well. In pre-K, he should have mastered 1-digit numerals from 0 to 9. Kindergarten, read, write, represent whole numbers, K2 from D, K from 2F, and then to look at my grade level, where he is struggling in first grade, would be right here, 1.2B. And so it tells me by Tyson what he needs. So on my action plan, I would write 1.2B. He needs concrete picture numbers, so he needs to see more visuals of 1 all the way to 120. So he's focusing on place value. To move him, grit bands, which is color jumping, I would still work on his foundational skill of place value. And this is how I can use the continuum. Now let's say you have babies that are outperforming. I know you asked me this the other day, what do I do with my blues, what do I do with my greens, right? You had students that were ready for either first or second. It already shows you here in second grade what is coming up.
Okay.
So 2.4a, recall basic facts to add and subtract within 20 with automaticity. So it has to be done fast. And then it says right here, recall basic facts, subtract with 20, automaticity. So it's tested quite often. It's tested in 2 different rib bands. So they can master that, then they'll move over to the next color. Does that make sense? And now let's say you have students that are just struggling, they're not understanding, you think possible panorama, tier 3 interventions, they're just not getting it. You can also look at before, the vertical alignment piece. Okay, what did they learn in kindergarten? What is something that I can do to support? So you go back to the wristbands, and it'll show you what they did in kinder and in first, based off their rate. So let's say he's 121. Rotations. Let me see what his rate was. So 149. Back. It's in between right here, kind of in the middle. He's almost at that rate, 141, not quite yet, 2 numbers down. And you can click on, okay, I want to see measurement, what else can I support, algebraic relationships, and numerical relationships. So it tells you all of this. And I always like to go back and see if there's anything foundational that they missed. Like if they taught money, they don't see money till first grade. So that's the first time they ever see it. So you won't see anything for kinder, for pre-K. But if it's like letters and sounds, they have to identify the letters first before even blending into the words.
So the information on top that says numerical representation, those are the areas that they're struggling in.
Yes.
So then you can go in there
Yes.
and see where you can start from and then work.
Yes. Thank you, Cindy. And I was going to tell you too, I wouldn't just focus on one, because when you think about it, these are our standards for the
Right.
month. Don't just focus on one, you also want to do relationships,
So,
geometry.
yeah.
So you can technically have 4 action plans.
Yeah.
And those students are going to be kind of in the same grid because they scored low overall. You can focus, okay, relationships, 2D shapes, money, bar graphs for data. So you have to see, okay, based on the T. Now I'm going to show you that in reading. So let's say I want to see where to start my interventions with reading. I'm going to update it.
Erika,
Yes.
question. So a lot of our kiddos came out with the assistance with vocabulary.
Yes.
So like what vocabulary do we use? Because like with Wonders, we have the vocabulary cards. But is there something additional that we could use for
I
them?
would go on TC and PC.
Okay.
Good question.
Because we also use the picture cards that come with Wonders.
Yes, the ones that you guys show and
Yes.
Because some of them can, there's not a lot of exposure to them.
And there's gonna be a lot of science, so I know you guys are good with the science, critiques, and having those visuals. That would also be a start. Good question. And so let's say I wanna do 154, a reading intervention action plan. So I'm gonna go back to the continuum. And the reading continuum is also gonna be based off the strands. Take a little bit. We should have 154. So 154 is gonna be a score of right here. So again, you have beginning reading writing skills, you have vocabulary, author's craft, and an inquiry. So it's also 4. So I always tell lower grades, just because we're all about phonological awareness, I would start right here, foundational language, and beginning reading writing. Usually your last strands are genres, which is strand 4, and then composition, that's strand 7. So I would start with the first 2 strands. So I'm gonna put right here. And then right here, print awareness. So we start teaching how to read and write at an early stage since pre-K. So if you have students that are still struggling, they probably need to start here at the pre-K foundational skills. And you build, can they write their names? Can they do at least 20 upper lowercase letters? So we start right here. And you're also tracking this. So you can use this for your panorama, because I know some of you were asking, well, what do I use to track? Whatever the TEAC is that you are reteaching in your IE time, in your small group, in your tutoring, your Saturday school, it would be this. This is your focus. And you're tracking this, and they're graduating. Okay, they already mastered their lowercase, uppercase letters. Now what do? Okay, they can distinguish elements of print. Now what do? So I just keep going, and then now, okay, they're at a kinder level. Now I'm gonna identify parts of a book. They mastered that. Holding a book, reading from left to right, top to bottom. And then right here, words separated by spaces. And so it gradually gets harder. So this will take you all the way. And it just keeps going. So if you run out of things to do with them in intervention times or graduating, you keep moving it to harder. And it'll take you all the way to possibly 5th grade, all the TEKs that we have in Texas. Is there any questions about the continuum up to this part?
So you can use that to kind of drive your small group intervention?
Yes. It's good. It's very powerful. I always tell the continuum because this is where we struggle a lot. We struggle where our greens and our blues get stuck. So keep moving them. We want to color jump, so let's see what the standard is in 2nd grade. And then vice versa. The students that are growing, well, let's go back. What gaps do we have? What if they teach in pre-K that they might have missed? A lot of our students that come here, they haven't had schooling, so I feel like the continuum is kind of like, okay, where do I start? It's kind of like your vertical alignment piece that we have, and it shows you exactly what the standard is. Any questions? We're good with the continuum? And your click sheet actually has how to access the continuum in case you forget. I know you're not from Bob Hope, welcome, but if you ever need anything, at the end I'm going to have my name so that you can give me a shout out. If you need something, text me, email me. This pretty much walks you by how to so this continuum, it's gonna pretty much step by step take you there. In case you need it, in case you forget, you need to adjust your grade level, look at the TEKs. And then now I'm gonna show you the quadrants. So everything's on here on this click sheet in case if you forget. Here's the other piece where it's very beneficial to see if each of your students individually are growing and also to see how you're doing. It's kind of like a report card as a teacher. Are my kids meeting their goals? Are they growing? Not growing? How fast are they growing? So the achievement status quadrant, I'm going to show you how to get there. So I go back. These are my reports. And it's going to be this little quadrant right here that has colors. You really want to see the quadrants. And so our achievement status, and again, I have consent from Ms. Hernandez, so I'm going to show her growth. And I'm just going to do her math. And this piece right here, as an instructional leader, we want to see, okay, which students are not making enough growth? Low growth, low performance. We really want to focus on them because it means that they're tiptoeing like this, very slowly. And then those students that are growing, but they're not high skill. And this is where we really want our kids. They're just growing, color jumping, everything is moving at a fast rate like this. So we really look at, okay, how come these students are stagnant, or why are they not growing fast enough? Is it possible maybe spec ed? Do we have enough information for Panorama to get them testing? So that's kind of the things that we want to start thinking. And this is where you get to see where each individual student is. So when you click, it'll tell you, okay, for example, Riley, she's right here. She's not making fast enough growth. So I'm thinking, okay, what's wrong with Riley? What do I need to do as an instructional leader? Is she seeing me enough in small group? Maybe she needs 30 minutes instead of 20. So you start thinking about that. And then these are your higher achievers. What are you going to do to keep them there and challenge them? Because we want to keep growing them. If they're at blue, they must stay in blue. I tell my teachers too that if you have greens and blues that go down, so let's say they regress to either orange or yellow, that looks a little more worse versus keeping them here in red, but they're still growing. So it's better to grow even if it's 1 or 2 points versus going backwards. So here, it'll break down by student their achievement. So let's say right here their RIT score was their range, this is what they got. And then this is the winter, what they got now. We test math 3 times, so it'll show me where they landed, 154 when they entered my class in September. Now they're at 159, so they grew a total of 9 points. So that's why also 2, even though they grew 9 points, that color's gonna be red because they're not growing enough fast. So these colors are not the colors that you saw in your class profile. These are individual growth by student. So for example, Janaya, she started in the fall at 153. She made a jump to 169. Therefore, she's growing fast. So that's why she's green. And I also want to see, okay, from the time that I had Janaya, for those past couple of months, did she meet her growth report? Yes, she did. So here, it tells me how they started and if they met or not met. So for example, this student is red because they regressed. And then it'll tell me the decimal amount that they regressed. Probably by a couple of points. So it says negative because it's going down. And then here I have another student, Aiden, he's green. The reason why is because his first score was 161, grew all the way to 173. So that means, yes, the growth, high achievement, and this is how much growth they had. So this is individualized by kids. So to look as like an administrator, we look at, okay, most students are meeting growth, but then we wonder why they're not. And this is done also by math, and then you'll have your reading if you teach self-contained. If you're upper grades, then you're gonna have all the reports. Let's say you teach 3 classes, you'll have all 3 math or all 3 reading. And that'll tell you if your kids are meeting growth. And then the most anticipated part is your report card as a teacher, where you want to see, okay, the percentage of my students, are they meeting or exceeding? We want this at least at 50%. So in this case, Ms. Hernandez, she did meet her goal, 58, and her reading, 50. Now to look at the projected growth met, this has to be at 100%. So math is already overachieving, 112. Her reading is not there quite yet, but she's still able to do it by reading, and I know she will. So this is a piece where the teachers ask, okay, so how do I qualify for my TIA check? It would be this report card right here. Is there any questions?
They have to be both in what?
So the top right here, for met exceed RIT score, this has to be 50. If you're self-contained for both your math and your reading.
Even at the end of the year?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you have it already, like for example her, she's already there. She's gonna get it. She's already projected that growth, right? Now this, each projected growth met, this has to be 100. So our teachers that didn't meet this yet, she's about 11 points away. She still has time in May.
What if they go down?
Her students. So let's say like here, right, they regress, then this percent would go down like 75. So they have to keep pushing the kids. Good question.
It's based on all of them.
Yes,
Based on
all your
overall?
student.
Okay.
That's why we, you heard me in my POC always preaching to the choir. We tell them, okay, you really need to focus on this kid. If there's not enough growth, focus on this one. If they are meeting their growth very fast, usually these are like your GTs. You gotta keep pushing them. That's why I tell them, 2nd grade, if they're already mastering that 1st grade T, go to the 2nd, use the continuum.
So for the money, would they average beginning, middle, and end?
So
Or
yes,
the
we're gonna go back
finals?
from fall.
Uh-huh.
So let me show you this. That's a great question. So when we edit the report, right here, it says fall from when you got them up to this point, winter, when they tested this month, correct? This will change and it will say fall all the way to May. So all those months that you have them be.
Okay.
Yes. But all we have to do is keep pushing them up.
Right now you mentioned that you moved them up 2 seconds. What do you mean?
Okay, so that's what before you came in.
Oh, sorry.
So I'm gonna go back to the continuous. So in the class profile, it's kind of like your umbrella, your big picture. I want to see how many kids are in green, how many in red. This is where you start to see how many kids have been tested, all 100%. And then your class profile, and then percentile of growth is 2. This is the instructional piece where teachers say, okay, what do I do with my students that are red, that are green, that are yellow, correct? Here, it already groups my students for me. So looking at the red scores, like 205, this is a blue student. GT needs extensions, needs to be motivated and pushed. 205, learning continuum is going to tell me what standards I can work with him to keep him at blue. So because he is a 205, sorry, this thing is taking a while.
Like you mean just like during your small group instruction?
Yes,
Like
your
you were
IE.
saying about their actually like my path and stuff.
You could do my path, but whenever they're green and blue, they don't need as much minutes. Usually your reds and your oranges will need more my path minutes. And 205 is going to be the end because he is higher. Very, very high. So he's around here. So kinder, this is what he's been doing. I'm going to do money just because first grade is on money right now. This is where they started with money. Scroll down. Draw conclusions. And before you got here, I was telling the teachers too, if you have struggling students, this is the continuum that helps you see, okay, what are they missing from kinder, from pre-K. And then right here, we can start doing graphs. They haven't learned graphs. It hasn't been taught by Erika yet, so the teacher can work with extensions of, okay, let's do graphing now. And then because he is higher, you can actually push him to do data up to 4 categories. And let's say he masters, okay, it's too easy for him. You keep going on the continuum. And it's all TEKS based. This will take you all the way to 6th grade TEKS. So this works for all students if they're middle, if they're yellow. It just depends on which red band you want to look at. So let's say 171. And you can also pick, okay, which TEK do I want to focus on? Because there's going to be 4 for math, 4 for reading. And let's say we're having a hard time with measurement. Well, does the child even know shapes? That's where I would start. And once they test out, what else did they see? Location, identify 2D shapes. So once they're mastering this, you're building their knowledge. And this is what I tell my teachers. Once they meet their goal, you pan around when you close the goal. This is where they check off, okay, what's my next goal? And once they master all this for the grade level, that's when they color jump to the next grade. Does that explain?
Yeah.
Yes. Is there any other questions? Are we okay?
Is there a way to constrain this or no?
Yes, I actually have it for you printed.
Oh, okay, because
The
I'm
continuum.
thinking now like it would be good for me like to do like a paper for each student and
Yes.
then be highlighting what they.
Yes. And then so because the range is, you can actually group your kids. So let's say you got a 190, but then you got 181, 187. That's a little group right here. And that's how they do their action plans. They put the RIT and then we teach them, okay, go to the continuum. And then when we do our POCs, they share out, okay, which TEK are you going to do and then which activities.
Yeah, I have them by group and everything. I was just having a little bit more trouble with that because they make the like we have
Yes.
to make the whole history of our
Yes.
the whole story of our so it's been growing the
Yes.
didn't have to do it. So I know that, but I was just having a little bit of trouble, I know that. I had put that, but I'm like, but where do I get that from?
Yeah, the continuum, that's like the hardest one to get to. You can also, like, let's say, okay, well, I wanna do maybe my high group, second grade, we can do it by grade level as well. But I like to go in there by kid, because I need to see the what's for the child, and then go there. Because we usually have like a little system where, okay, we group our kids, who are they, what color are they, and then now let's look at TEKS, and then let's look at activities. And then my path has activities as well, and math reading fluency as well. And my team over here was saying, if you have time, can you teach us a math fluency one? Do you do math fluency? Like the reading, the oral where they record themselves?
We do it once a month.
Yes, so let me show you that piece. Is everybody okay with the math fluency? I can, Ms. Flores, are you okay?
Yes, ma'am,
Yes. Okay, so when we go into the math fluency, because as a reading teacher, you're doing growth and then you're doing the math oral every month, right? So let's say I just conducted math reading fluency. Do I have consent, Ms. Rodriguez, for you?
Yes,
So can I pull yours? Okay.
yes.
So mine looks a little bit different. I get the entire grade level, and I'm just gonna click on reports. So here are your students on the reports. And then it gives you all this. But I only wanna click on one page, because mine looks a little bit different from yours.
Is it the benchmark already?
Okay, right here. So for example, I'm gonna get yours, your Memphis, okay?
Okay.
So once they recorded the reading, they did the foundational skills, or they're already oral readers, you're gonna click individually on your students. And for each student, it gives you how they do on the rhymes, symbols, pretty much the PA piece, correct? Here, it gives you instructional recommendations. From K to 3, this is usually where, for reading, where I focus. I go into like syllable graphs, I go by student, and this is what they do during their IE time. It already gives you activities where you can just print off and you can navigate. So for example, your Memphis would need still a little bit more syllables, segmenting. It gives you the instructions. This is based off the Florida Research Center. And you can create, I usually create 2 during my intervention time. And then I have students do the game with me 2 by 2. So I print 2 of these and then we go through the game. And this is also something that you can introduce in your small group and you put into centers. But it's already done, so I usually tell my teachers, go here first, see what the student needs. Florida's really good, and then they run off the copies and then they teach it in their small group, and then the kids have centers, so they're gradually adding more. And then this piece will also show you, like we just did dyslexia screen in first grade, it'll show you if they're flagged for possible difficulty in reading. So we go every month during our POCs, we go in there and we look at, okay, which kids are flagged, and that's usually the same ones that are red in your math growth. And these are the activities that we use.
Can you show me again?
Yes, I'll show you again. No worries, it's been a long day. So here, let me click out. I'm gonna start from the beginning. So you go home.
You, from math group, I went there.
Yes, math fluency. And then right here, you're gonna see your class. And then you're just gonna go to benchmarking and tricks, because it's gonna give you the most recent from January. And then just click on whichever student that you would like to support. Benchmark, just click on whichever kid. And this student still doesn't have oral because they haven't been recording themselves. They're still on foundational skills. And then at the bottom, for this one, doesn't have anything. Ms. Hernandez, your
Yes.
Zoe doesn't have anything.
I know.
That's,
So usually when that happens, it's because it didn't pick up the recording, or they didn't take the assessment, or they didn't turn it in. So I'm gonna click on Christopher. Yeah, she probably didn't turn it in. So Christopher finished his test and he submitted, so he'll have recommendations for support. for you to click on your kids. And then just click on whoever you want. And then there you go. So you have their data, decoding language comprehension, and then at the bottom it's gonna tell you what you can do with them. Oh, it's pretty strong. Here it is. Yes. And you can group them too. So usually like the colors that you see, I'll show you the colors. They use this data to also group kids. So you can already see they need their PA. And then these students, once they get all these greens and blues, now they're ready to actually record this over free. So we also use this data in orbits. Did you need anything else?
No.
This was extra, by the way. But this connects with our math growth. Because this is digging really deep. Okay, why are they still in red? They still need letters and sounds, rhymes. So this is our foundational skills. But other than that, if you don't have any questions, if you want me to stick around show you some more, I'm here for you.
You're welcome.
Great job.
Before you